City 5, Crystal Palace 2, then is how it finishes. Taking a look at what that means for their race for a place in the top 5. They currently sit 1 point clear of Aston Villa, who won against Southampton. Nottingham Forest, meanwhile, of course, losing against Everton, opening the door for the chasing pack. But all the talk after the game was about Kevin De Bruyne. Here's Pep Guardiola.
Kevin is not a vocal leader. The leader is every day. During 9 years, 10 years, I've been every 3 days, except the last year and a half, being there, helping the team. And I have something, talent unique. Everybody knows it. I have a vision in the past and have, you know, when the players up front, Kevin has the ball and when he's feel like this, they know they can run because the ball can be delivered. The problem is when make a run, when the deliver player is not with this talent. But that's why Kevin is the player in this history of this club, all history with most titles.
He was sensational today, Don.
Amazing. It's like De Bruyne back to his best. I thought the big turning point in the game was when Ez's goal for the 3-0 got disallowed, because at 3-0, if that goal had stood, I don't think there was any way back for City. They looked a little bit slow, but then once De Bruyne got that goal back to make it 2-1, he just absolutely ran the show. And I think Pep's talking there about the 9 years that he's been at Man City. It's the day-to-day involvement that he has, how he lives his life. Even when he's injured, he does the right things. He always says the right things. He's a superb player. He'll rank as one of the best midfield players in the Premier League of all time. He'll rank right up there in the conversation in the top 2 or 3. And he showed today that he's still got a lot to offer. That's the most important thing. He's not just going to leave Man City without a fight and showing his character and his quality. At the same time, if you're thinking of buying Kevin De Bruyne, wherever he might end up, Premier League or MLS or Saudi, wherever he goes, they're going to get a top-class player, because, you know, you'd like to think normally when a player moves on, they can be replaced. And there's talk of players like Florian Wirtz, completely different player, really, really skillful, but not on the level of Kevin De Bruyne. So it's going to take some replacing. It might even need 2 or 3 to try and replace him. He's that good.
Well, why didn't he do this more this season then?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That is part of the Kevin De Bruyne issue now is that he has still got this in his locker, but not as consistent as it was. And that's sort of Mother Nature catching up with you, as it catches up with most players. He's looked a little heavy-legged. He's had some more injury problems. And whereas he was playing like this probably, 9 games out of 10, it's probably 1 or 2 now. And that's not taken away from the talent. It's just that he's not able, or certainly, unless something changes next year, wherever he goes, he's not been able to do it for City as regular as he once did. And I think he's realised that. You have these moments, you have these games, you have these bits of individual brilliance, which you'll never kind of lose. But what it seems to me has lost is the ability to keep repeating that, probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
With all the cup competitions, the midweek games and the Saturdays. And of course, he like a few of them, has been a victim of Man City's poor play, where you're looking at one guy can't carry the team. I mean, people talked about Rodri being out, and maybe that would have solved the problems. No, I mean, we've talked about it. He's a terrific player. He's not Superman. And I think the same with Kevin De Bruyne. He's just carried this team, along with a few others, for so long that he can do it now and again. He just can't do it as regular as he once could. And I think that's why he'll go somewhere where it's a little bit slower and the tempo's a little bit easier. And that will suit him as he goes further into his 30s.
Jack, you look at City, second half, they were vertical, they were quick, they were exciting, they were productive. Why?
The turnaround on that half-hour mark, starting with the Kevin De Bruyne free kick, it was incredible to witness. And if you're a City fan, you're probably frustrated looking at that City performance and kind of recognising some of your struggles all season long. Because truth be told, Palace should have been 4 up. Mateta had a chance from 6 yards out that he put over the crossbar, and that would have made it 3-0. And then the Eze offside goal. And then all of a sudden, Kevin De Bruyne scores the free kick and the game just totally changes. And Kevin De Bruyne, it almost seemed as though he just decided, I'm going to take control of this game. I'm going to remind these fans of how good a player I was. Nobody from Palace could live with him. And in truth, without him, City, even with the scoreline and as good as everybody may feel, nobody else held a candle to Kevin De Bruyne's performance. And had he not been there, I think we're having a very different conversation about City's performance. And that, again, is the frustration in that for all this money that City has spent, you have to rely on a player who has got one foot out of the door to really carry this team over the line. They probably will finish top 5, I think, but Kevin De Bruyne has a big role to play.
It was a huge day. This was a huge result for City. You know, we don't normally talk about Man City sitting where they are, scrambling to get in the Champions League and it being a big result, but it was. But it sort of first half an hour encapsulate what City have been about for the big chunk of this season since they fell off the cliff. And what is the biggest issue for them? Is it getting Haaland hungry and fit and continuing to score goals, or Marmoush, or is it replacing, as Don said, a Kevin De Bruyne with some silky players, or is it fixing the issue, which I think could be even bigger and continues to be a problem, is that they are so easy to score against. And as Shaq said, it could have been 3 or 4 before they even laid a glove on Crystal Palace. So what is the biggest problem? Is it getting the legs in midfield that they don't really have anymore? Is it replacing the craft of De Bruyne, or is it finding a way to fix a backwater, a back 4 that, no matter who he plays, it leaks like hell?
Don?
Great question, and that's what I think Guardiola will be pondering in the summer. I mean, he signed Nico Gonzalez. I think when Rodri's back, you might see those two play as a double pivot together in midfield, because I think that's the one thing when you look at City. They've still got lots of classy players. They've still got the likes of Haaland and Marmoush, Phil Foden to come back next season and have a stronger season, Doco, Savinho. So they've got talented players. But you just feel as though anyone now, if they're on their game, not even on the counter-attack anymore. I don't even think Crystal Palace were playing counter-attacking football. They were tearing them to shreds at times. And that's unrecognisable when you watch a Guardiola side. So I think when he looks to try and strengthen this squad and have the rebuild, the tools are there in terms of the goals that they're potentially going to get. It's keeping clean sheets. And that's just not down to Edison, even though he might move on as well. Ortega, if he's the number 1, or they buy another goalkeeper. It's not just the goalkeeper. It's having stability in a back 4. It's having 2 centre-halves that you don't want to play against. It's having midfield players that'll just block off anything if any team even thinks about passing through the lines into centre-forwards, into number 10s. So Guardiola will solve it, I'm pretty sure of that. But it's going to be a fascinating summer to see what style of player he brings in. Does he go all out for the Florian Wirtz and the silky sort of number 10s and tries to outscore teams? Or does he go for players that are going to be a little bit more rugged in midfield?
One last thing on De Bruyne, Don. He said afterwards he's not ruling out the possibility of going to another Premier League club. Is that feasible? Does that work?
It works because he's so good, but someone would have to be a little bit patient.
He's good. He's been good today. He hasn't been good this season.
Oh, I know. Well, if you'd have let me finish what I was going to say, I might just give you the answer there, Daniel.
Okay,
I was just about to say, someone's going to have to be patient, and someone's going to have to understand that De Bruyne can't play, 2 games a week. So whoever he goes to, so I could see it being a team that's not in Europe, for instance. Therefore, that would give him a little bit more rest. So just playing domestic football. But does he want that? Does he want to go to a mid-table Premier League side after winning a lot with Man City? So the answer probably might be a no. So it'll be fascinating to see where he ends up. But I wouldn't say absolutely not that he's not going to stay in the Premier League. I could see it, but it'd be fascinating to find out where he wants to go. Liverpool's his dream. I mean, he's always been a Liverpool fan, but I can't see that one.
I don't see him staying in England. I don't. He's had his time in England, a couple of spells in England. Second one, clearly much more successful than the first. Along with Mo Salah, good business from Chelsea back in the day, getting rid of those two. But I just don't see it, Dan, because he's had so much success at this club and personally that anything else is just a drop down.
Right.
And I think a disappointment, really. Unless he does go to somebody like Liverpool or whoever, which is unlikely, that they're going to be looking for somebody at that stage of their career. So it just seems likely to me that he's going to go somewhere where, again, I say, the pace of the play is a little bit slower and he doesn't have to expend that amount of energy. I just don't see him dropping further down the league, getting frustrated, and all the rigours that the Premier League and some of the other leagues are going to bring him.
Here's a challenge with signing a Kevin De Bruyne. While he's shown quite clearly he has a quality, you need to put legs around him. So
he's not cheap.
But he won't be cheap. But then if you bring in a Kevin De Bruyne, you have to build a team around him to kind of cover that ground to make up the running. And then he's had 2 injury hit seasons, and then this one inconsistent. So you build a team around Kevin De Bruyne and you're not quite sure how reliable he's going to be all season long. And that's a difficult task.